If you're thinking about getting into real estate in 2025, you cannot afford to make these three mistakes. I have seen countless beginner investors blow tens of thousands of dollars making these mistakes, and I don't want you to do the same thing. Real estate is still the best way to create wealth in 2025 and moving forward. However, the game has changed and you need to change with it if you want to thrive. The old YouTube advice from 2020 and 2021 doesn't work anymore. I've seen people's videos, including mine, and there are so many different things that have changed that you need to understand if you want to start to invest now. All right, let's get into it. Let's break down the top 3 mistakes that new investors make, and these are probably not mistakes that you're going to see on your normal YouTube videos. And the reason for that is I have bought over $50 million worth of real estate without using any of my own money, and still buy over 300 houses every single year in my flipping and wholesaling company. Plus, I have a community of over 2,000 students that are all buying and investing in today's market. You are not going to watch a video from someone who has more real world, in the trenches, active experience than I have. Number 1 mistake, and this is probably the one that bugs me most, is waiting to time the market. I'm just gonna wait until rates go down. Maybe the prices will crash soon and I'll swoop in. Now's just not a good time. Any of those sound familiar? There is never a perfect time to invest. There's only a prepared investor. Real estate is cyclical and it's localized. So thinking that you're going to catch a wave in a specific market at a specific time is just not realistic. It's never happened before and it's never going to happen in the future. There are too many external factors that affect what a market's going to do, so you need to understand that time in the market is much more important than timing the market. Nobody knows when we're at the top of a cycle or the bottom of a cycle, but what you do know is that real estate goes up in value over time. Real estate doubles in value every 15 years. So if you buy real estate today, and if for some reason it's worth 2 or 3% less next year, that's okay, that's normal, that happens. But over a 15-year period, that real estate will double in value. And during those 15 years, the tenant will be paying down the mortgage. During those 15 years, you will be collecting cash flow. And during those 15 years, you will be saving hundreds of thousands of dollars on taxes. So the point is, get in the market, don't worry about timing it, and stack assets, because there is never a perfect time. The only perfect time to invest is now, no matter what the market is doing. Because if you invest the right way, you're buying below market value anyway. So if you're buying at 80 cents on the dollar and real estate prices go down 5%, you still have equity built in and you're still in a safe position. The longer you wait to invest, the longer you put off your future goals. Get in the game, figure it out despite the market, and you will be successful. The biggest point that I want you to get out of this specific mistake is, if you want to truly invest and if you want to try to time the market, it doesn't happen overnight. You need to start to build the connections and strategies now so that if the market does dip, you're able to take advantage of it. 2021 is a perfect example. Everybody got into real estate in 2021, and most of those people are not in business anymore because they hopped in when everybody else was doing it. There was no advantage, it was too easy to win, and there weren't systems and processes that were sustainable set into play. So if you set those things up now, when the market does eventually dip, you're able to actually take advantage of that dip. Trying to get in the game during a dip is damn near impossible, and 2021 was a perfect example of that. Which leads me on to mistake number 2, trying to do it alone. I'll just YouTube it. I don't need a mentor. I'll figure it out myself. That sound familiar? Unfortunately, real estate is more complex than just buying and selling houses. There's lending, title, rehab, contractors, legal, dispositions, tenant management. There is a lot that goes into getting into real estate investing. There is no physical way for you to even do it on your own. So going into it with that expectation will set you up for failure, or at a minimum, it will set you up for a much harder path than you have to walk. Investing in real estate without getting some type of support and guidance is like running a marathon barefoot. You can do it, but it's gonna hurt. A real estate investment deal is like a matrix. There are so many different webs and so many different points of contact and so many different variables that go into one deal. One or two blind spots where you don't have a connection and you try to do it on your own can cost you tens of thousands of dollars. And it does. I've seen it happen, and it's happened to me. I remember at the beginning of my real estate investing career not being able to get a refinance loan on a rental property, and I was not able to keep it as a rental, so I planned to sell it. I went to my local meetup, I connected with a local investor, and they gave me one contact, one phone number to a small local bank in the area that likes to do cash out refinance loans on investment properties, and I made one phone call, and I ended up keeping that property as a rental instead of selling it. Today, 11 years later, that property has over $200,000 of equity that I didn't do anything to create besides letting time and real estate do its thing. I've collected over $50,000 of cash flow from that property in the past 11 years, and I've saved over $100,000 in taxes in the past 11 years, all because I had the right connection and didn't have a blind spot. You don't need a guru. There are plenty of them out there, and most of them aren't worth a damn. What you do need is a community, and you need a guide, not a guru. Everyone that I know that does anything at a high level, whether it be a landscaping business, a law firm, a software company, a real estate investing company, they all have a group of people that they lean on, whether it be a mentor, a mastermind, a free community, or a paid community. They're leaning on other people's experience and following their grouped path. There is zero chance that you will be successful without paying for education. You will either pay through the education through failures, mistakes, and losses, or you will pay through the education by paying someone else to learn from their failures, their mistakes, and their losses. Even people at the level of Tony Robbins or Dean Graziano or Grant Cardone, they are involved in masterminds and pay-to-play programs to up-level their game and their businesses. So every single level has a different support system, so just lean into that. I think paying to play is the best, most efficient way to do it. However, there are free resources out there that you can lean on. At a minimum, join your local real estate investing Facebook groups to connect with people in your market and get connections. Probably should join the local meetups as well to meet with people in person. So you need to connect with people at a minimum for free, and if you really want to step on the gas and be efficient and effective and not waste your time and bump your head into the wall every time you turn around the corner, you should probably pay for it. And guess what? I'm not even trying to sell you my community mentorship. That's later, but for now, just know that the best of the best, from Tom Brady to Taylor Swift to Brad Pitt to whatever person you look up to, they're involved in some community. They have coaches, they have teachers, and they have people that help them overcome their shortcomings and help teach them and guide them based on their specific expertise. Mistake number 3 can be a little controversial. However, let's talk through it, and that is chasing rentals too early. I want to own 10 rentals this year. I want to make $10,000 in passive income. I don't want to have to work anymore and just collect checks. Does that sound familiar? Rental properties are a long-term game. If you want to create wealth in any industry, especially real estate, you need to think in decades, not in days. You see, real estate will create wealth for you. However, it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It is a get-wealthy-for-sure plan. This is one of the mistakes that I made when I got started. Luckily for me, I have a good business partner, and I'm kind of crazy at the same time, and I push through, but I tried to replace my W-2 income with rental properties. And I was doing this back in 2014, 15, and 16 when you could really cash flow pretty heavily buying BRRRR deals using none of your own money. However, it is not possible or not very likely to replace a $75,000, $125,000, shoot, maybe even $200,000 a year income with rental income. Because on a good day, you're going to cash flow $200 to $400 every single month buying a rental property. As I stated earlier, that shouldn't be the end game anyway. You should be getting into rentals for property value growth, debt pay down, a little bit of cash flow and tax savings. However, that little bit of cash flow that you're going to get should be used as a safety net in that business. You do set money aside for vacancy, you do set money aside for CapEx and for maintenance. However, things happen. So that money that you make on each rental property should realistically sit inside that rental property bank account in case things happen and just to give you some security. Over time, you can do what we did. That security net builds up enough and then you can take chunks out if you want, but you should not use that to live on. That is irresponsible in my opinion. I know a lot of these people like Grant Cardone or maybe some of these people that are a little more opinionated, let's say, will tell you, quit your job, jump in, don't look down to see if there's water in the pool or not, just dive and figure it out as you go. I don't think that's realistic and I don't think that's responsible for you to do that. What you should do is what I did after I made that mistake of trying to replace my W-2 income with rental property cash flow. I realized that I needed to make active income, and that rental properties and rental income was ancillary and it was passive, but it shouldn't ever be used for my active lifestyle. So rather than continuing to buy rentals with a full-time job, I quit my full-time job and focused on wholesaling and flipping. And the funny thing is, I was able to replace my W-2 income with wholesaling and flipping active income, but at the same time, I was spending more time in the real estate investing realm every single day, so I added more rentals. The 2 years prior to me quitting my job, I added about 25 rental properties, which is pretty good. But the 2 years after I quit my job, because I was solely focused on real estate, finding distressed properties, wholesaling, flipping them, or keeping them as rentals, I ended up adding over 100 rental doors in those 2 years. So focus on replacing your active income with active income through real estate, wholesaling, flipping, syndication, whatever that looks like. Get some active income coming from real estate, preferably while you have a full-time job to prove the concept, and then quit that job and continue to focus on that active income, and you can probably stack more rentals. Because if your whole focus every day is to find deals and to find funding, just find deals and find funding and then figure out what the best situation is, because in today's world, 75% of what you buy is not going to cash flow anyway, so wholesale or flip it and make money now so that you have more breathing room, more flexibility. You can quit your job or maybe not quit your job. Just make an extra 100 grand a year that you can put down on a property, pay off some debt, or just live a life that you never thought you could, all while stacking rentals in the background. Do not wait for the perfect conditions. Instead, act with imperfect information. Don't go alone. Plug into people and plug into systems. Don't chase long-term cash flow when you need cash in your pocket today. Real estate is shockingly simple, but it's not easy. There's a difference in understanding that, and not making these mistakes will put you years ahead and hundreds of thousands of dollars ahead where you would be if you tried to go down the traditional path that almost everybody does. If you want to see what type of investor you should be, I have 2 free resources for you, and both of them are in the description. Number 1 is an investor DNA quiz. It's a free quiz where you answer 7 questions about where you are financially and what your goals are, and it tells you should probably wholesale, you should probably flip, you should probably add rentals, or maybe a combination of the 3. So take that quiz. It will guide you and point you in the right direction. The other free resource is my free training. I have a training that I put together. It's 13 minutes long about how to find and fund deals and buy rental properties. If you're interested in that, check out the description as well, or go to freerentalwebinar.com. Regardless, I'm here to help you, so make sure you like and follow this channel. I have my podcast on here as well as these YouTube videos. So like and subscribe, and check out these videos over here if you want to learn more about investing in real estate for free.